National League Central Division standings. Cardinals beating the Mets last night. The Pirates lost to the Brewers. The difference now 3.5 games between first and second place. The Cubs now 9 games back of St. Louis. Hi again, everybody, with Bob Walk. I'm Tim Neverett. Pirates trying to get even with the Brewers tonight after last night's series opening loss. And one guy who didn't really lose a step during the break was Jung-Ho Kang, the third baseman, who is seeing everyday time out at the hot corner, Bob, continues to be hot.
Not really a lot of good stuff to talk about in last night's game, but one of the bright spots was the way that Jung-Ho was able to play the game. And, you know, we're looking for maybe for some more power from him this second half of the season as he collects more regular at bats, and he was able to provide that in last night's game. One of the only 3 hits we got over the fence. But since he's getting regular games on an everyday basis, he's really been doing a great job. Look at the batting average. The OPS is over 1,000. That's fantastic. While Jay-Hay has been out, Jung-Ho is really filling in that spot in a great manner, both on the offense and on the defense.
Jung-Ho back in the lineup tonight, hoping to provide some power and some offense for the Pirates here in game number 2. Buck Nation is represented well here in Brewtown. It's a Saturday in the park. Coming up, we'll take a look at tonight's starting pitchers. Milwaukee, as we prepare you for game 2 of this 3-game set. Bucks looking to get even with the Brewers after an opening game loss last night. Just a little while ago, very short time ago, Francisco Liriano experienced some tightness in his neck and was not comfortable at all and just couldn't get stretched out. So Liriano will not be starting this ball game tonight.
Yeah, it's kind of unusual to see a late scratch like that, but thank goodness it doesn't seem to be anything real serious. I hate to speculate, but of all the things that it could be when you see a starting pitcher walk off the field and not warm up, neck tightness seems to be a good one, as opposed to like elbow soreness or anything like that. So hopefully everything will work out and maybe just missed this one start, but the Pirates lucky to have Vance Worley out there in the bullpen, the number 6 starter basically. He'll take over.
Made his last start on the 14th of May against Philadelphia, so it'll be Vance Worley against Jimmy Nelson. First pitch on the way. Let's send you back to Pittsburgh right now. Dan Potash has the State Farm game break. Of the old Milwaukee Bears of the Negro Leagues, Vance Worley will oppose him. Pirates wearing the uniforms of the Pittsburgh Crawfords tonight. A last-minute starter. Vance Worley making his 100th big league appearance tonight and his first start since the 14th of May at Philadelphia. 2-3, 7 starts this year. The lineup for the Pirates, brought to you by Toyota. Gregory Polanco to lead off. Neil Walker has a 7-game hitting streak going right now. .313 average with a homer and 2 runs batted in during that time. Kutch batting third. Marte cleanup. Jung Ho will bat fifth. Pedro sixth. Francisco Cervelli seventh. Mercer eighth. And now Worley in the lineup batting ninth, facing the right-hander who has given the Pirates some problems this year, Jimmy Nelson.
He certainly has. We've had a very tough time with his curveball. He's had a lot of success against the Pirates, and it's reflected in his numbers that we have against his hook. He added that to his repertoire this season, and been a very good pitch for him. And, not having a bad really season overall. Pretty good numbers. 109 innings. He's really doing a pretty good job for the Brewers. First full season.
Clint Hurdle, different look with the old unis on, but this is not the first time the Pirates and Brewers have squared off in these uniforms. They've done it in Pittsburgh. They've done it here before. And now it is the 10th annual Milwaukee Brewers Negro Leagues tribute game tonight. So here is Gregory Polanco standing in. Again, the story just before game time, the starter for the Pirates, Francisco Liriano, a scratch. Polanco ground ball right side. That is off the glove of Lucroy, and that'll be a base hit for Polanco. And of course, with the change of Liriano, Craig Counsell and the Brewers made a lineup change. With Parra out in left field, he wasn't originally in the lineup. Defense brought to you by Honda. Gomez and Braun, the rest of the outfield. Lucroy and Jeanette. Jeanette also a late ad for the Brewers. Segura and Ramirez on the left side of the infield with Martin Maldonado doing the catching. And for Lucroy, it's just the second time this season that he has started at first base. First time in the Craig Counsell era. He did start against the Pirates at first base much earlier in the season. Neil Walker facing Nelson. And he hits this one hard to center field. That's down for a hit. An 8-game hitting streak. It gets past Gomez. That's going to roll to the wall. Polanco will come around third. He'll score easily around second and into third with a stand-up triple. Is Walker, and it's 1-0 Pittsburgh. And we'll see if it is indeed scored a triple or a base hit and a two-base error.
It probably, I would think, would go as an error. I mean, this is an absolute bullet. But, I mean, Gomez just misses it, simple as that. I mean, that's just a very poor play on his part. Might have taken his eye off it to look and see what Polanco was doing. That would be the only thing I could think of. It's not like the grass is wet or anything from the thunderstorms earlier. They had the roof closed, and look at this.
2-0 Pirates. A wild pitch. And the Bucks with an early lead and nobody out.
What a disastrous beginning to this ball game for the Brewers. What a great start after last night's game for the Bucks. They couldn't get anything going, and here we've had two hitters come to the plate. They both scored.
So Walker will get credit for a base hit, and then the error by Gomez got him to third. And the wild pitch gets Walker home. Now nobody on, nobody out for McCutchen. He takes a ball. .291 the average for Kutch. 12 home runs, 56 runs batted in. And the 2-0 coming from Nelson. Here's a strike, 2-1. Nelson 6-9 on the year. At Miller Park, he is 3-9 in his career. For whatever reason, hasn't had a lot of success in terms of wins and losses at home. 3-1. Rivers Casino tips to win tonight.
Avoid the hook. I've talked about that a little bit today about how good his curveball is. Try not to hit that. Try to get to his fastball and answer the bell is about Worley. He's like kind of like a volunteer fireman. The bell went off 15 minutes ago, and now he's got to answer it. He's got to go out there and do his job. Short notice. But it'll be a little easier now because he's going to go out there with at least a 2-run lead.
Searage is maybe paying attention to Vance while he was planning all along to watch Frankie pitch tonight. 3-2. Ball 4, and the Pirates with another base runner. 2 runs on 2 hits, an error, a wild pitch, and a walk. That's how the game begins. And now Starling Marte will come to the plate. Craig Counsell was 32 and 34 as a manager. Had no prior coaching or managerial experience when he took over for Ron Renicky on the 4th of May. He had been in the front office. Marte to right center field to the gap. It's going to be cut off by Braun, and that'll force McCutchen to stop at second base. So base hit, 3 hits, and a walk so far in the top of the first inning.
Hitting that fastball. That was a 94. Actually, kind of a little on the inside half of the plate. Marte able to inside out the ball.
Rick Kravitz, the pitching coach, out early. Nelson has yet to record an out. And he is already behind 2-0 and 2 men on, and still nobody out. And Jung Ho Kang coming up.
This is a basic pep talk he's getting now. Is, you know, hey, everything is fine. Don't hit the panic button. You know, just get out of this inning. And if it's 2-0, it won't be that big of a problem. And that's exactly how Nelson has to think. If he starts panicking now, then this could really snowball on him, and Pirates could be playing with a 4 or 5 run lead.
Jung Ho hit his 5th home run of the season last night. Pitch in the dirt for ball 1.
Wow, that's a 94 mile an hour fastball, and to bounce that far out in front of home plate, that doesn't make any sense. This is a fastball. It's not a breaking ball. It's supposed to be a fastball inside, and it's outside in the dirt. That's missing your spot by about 3 feet. We've seen a couple of those. He's just all over the place. And again, missing by a bunch. But it's supposed to be fastball in, and he ends up having the backhanded a good 2 feet away. That's why every time you see somebody get hit with a fastball, they're not getting thrown at on purpose. Pitchers are that wild all the time. You see it every night.
A strike is called. Jung Ho thought it was ball 3.
Jung Ho was right. The ball had to be low. He can reach down and how did he get that one called?
Maldonado pulled it back up. Lance Barrett rung up a strike, so the count changes. 2 balls, 1 strike. Nelson checks the runners and the pitch. There's ball 3.
He's not trusting anything but his fastball. He's throwing a ton of those so far.
Pirates out of the chute in good fashion, as they've seen nothing but fastballs from Nelson. Ground ball left side, and Segura throws it into the outfield. McCutchen will come around to score. And into second base safely as Jung Ho Kang. It's 3-0.
Wow. There's so much going on here. It's hard to even think about it. Just a horrendous throw by Segura. Horrible. But again, this pitch selection is pretty amazing too by Nelson. If you look at the scouting report, it's all full of how much success he has had with his curveball versus the Pirates this year, and apparently he doesn't read it. He hasn't thrown one yet and just keeps getting hit.
Well, Pedro hoping he throws a few more.
4 hits now, and there it is. That's his first hook of the game, I believe.
Pedro look for a fastball here. He's in a great spot. Second and third, nobody out. 3 runs in, top of the first. Lets it go for a strike.
Another hook.
Pedro has 18 home runs against the Brewers.
This year, the Pirates have hit 176. 176 off Nelson's curveball. The rest of the league hits about 240 off it. Wait, no, 235.
Smashed foul out of play. Got a fastball.
Yeah, and that's just one of the numbers that have been very poor for the Pirates versus the curveball of Nelson. So that's why I'm so surprised he started off the whole top part of the lineup throwing nothing but fastballs to him. He's got to know he's had all that look, and you know what I mean? Why is he throwing all fastballs? Pretty amazing.
Great question. Hits him. Pedro's hit by the pitch, and the bases are loaded, and still nobody out.
Can anything more go wrong for him?
I can think of one more thing.
Well, yeah, he could be walking to the dugout in this inning, which I guess could happen here soon.
And that spiked curveball spiked it right off the foot of Pedro.
He's trying to throw a real good curveball, you know, 2-strike pitch down and in, but we've seen the lack of command of his fastballs. He's been all over the place with that. And normally the curveball is not much better when you see the fastball everywhere.
Cervelli, good hitter over his career with the bases loaded. 3-0, nobody out. And the first pitch in for a strike, a fastball. The Pirates have been hit by a pitch more than anybody in the league. Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs has 19 hit by pitches to lead the National League, and his team still in second place in that category. Nothing in 1-2 Cervelli. Looper to right field, and Braun will make this catch. Here comes Marte to the plate. The throw is on line, and Marte's out.
I don't think Marte ever even touched home plate, did he?
Don't believe so. Chick-fil-A double play, a shallow fly ball and a one-hopper.
Yeah, there certainly was no way Marte was going to get to the plate on this one. Perfect throw from Braun. Absolutely right on the money.
So now 2 outs and runners at the corners. Jordy Mercer takes a strike. Well, it's been an eventful top of the first inning so far. 2 errors by the Brewers. And Vance Worley in the on-deck circle before he gets to throw a pitch. Vance with a bat in his hand. He was preparing as though it was any other day, and then Liriano at the last moment, while he was trying to throw in the outfield, came up with tightness in his neck. He was scratched, and now Worley, the starting pitcher. And I think, Bob, you can attest to this. It's always a comfortable feeling, at least, when you're the starting pitcher on the road. You're in the on-deck circle before you've thrown a pitch. You feel good about that?
Yeah. It's a great feeling. But for me personally, my nightmare games when I hit the first inning.
Is that right?
Yeah. Rook had to take a long walk after that.
And Mercer down on strikes.
Feels like we should have got a lot more than 3 out of that. We had 3 in and base loaded, nobody out.
3 up after a half inning. Brewers coming to bat against Vance Worley. council. Gerardo Parra will be back in the leadoff spot. Jonathan Lucroy will bat second. Ryan Braun third. Carlos Gomez in the cleanup spot. Ramirez, Jeanette, Segura, and then Maldonado batting eighth. Jimmy Nelson nine. Gerardo Parra has had a great month of July so far, hitting .422. Had two doubles in the series opener last night. And here is Vanimal. 100th career big league appearance for Vance Worley.
You take a look at his Hyundai numbers. You can see this is his 8th start this year. And really his numbers overall are pretty darn good. Get the ERA 3.38. And when you are that extra guy, the long man, sixth starter, whatever you want to call it out there, this is the kind of situation you love to have when you can come in and start a ball game and have a little bit of a lead, a little cushion. You can go right after the hitters. Of course, Worley always goes right after the hitters.
And Parra, an aggressive swinger. Just like last night on the first pitch he saw, has an opposite field hit.
This team loves to be aggressive at the plate. Love to swing at the first pitch.
Defensively, the Pirates have McCutchen in center field, Marte and Polanco flanking him. Jung-Ho Kang at third. Mercer, Walker, Alvarez around the rest of the infield. Cervelli catching. Jung-Ho has seen an extended, consistent time at third base since the injury to Josh Harrison, and Jung-Ho has more than held his own at third.
The fact that these guys are such aggressive hitters and love to swing at the first pitch, they will chase a lot of balls out of the strike zone. That's why it's such a good matchup for Liriano. Too bad he couldn't make the start today, but on paper this is the kind of team that he really excels at. Earlier this year, he pitched 8 innings against these guys, only threw 105 pitches. But doesn't make any difference now.
0-1 to Lucroy.
Worley is the man tonight.
Well, if you're the long man, you've got to be flexible. Your role will change. Sometimes you might not get used for quite a while, and then sometimes you might end up with an emergency start like this. One to Lucroy.
Yeah, you can throw 6-7 innings over a 3-day period after not doing anything for 2 weeks. It just really is in that regard, as far as consistent work, the very toughest spot in that bullpen to be in.
And how is it, Bob, that a long man can always stay ready to go? What is the mentality there?
Well, I guess I have a tendency to oversimplify things, and I just don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, you've been pitching since you were a little kid. You know what to do. You go out there, you pitch. It's your job. You take the baseball, you go play. As far as like scouting reports and all that stuff, you know what you do well, and you've had experience against a lot of these hitters already. You always remember the guys that you struggle with or have a lot of success with. You know what you did in the past that did work, didn't work. You know what you got going on a certain night. You know if you have control. You know if you can command your breaking ball. I mean, there's all kinds of little things that go into it. So it really isn't a big deal. You just got to go out and pitch and work with whatever you got.
Here's Worley's 3-2. Runner goes, and the ball hit right back to Vance. Got a chance for 2. There's 1, and the double play. Nicely done.
And Vance, that really is one of his strengths. Is it? Besides just being a great pitcher, he is outstanding with the glove and with the bat, for that matter. He can really do everything out there. He's cut from that same bolt of cloth as Garrett Cole. Lucroy really smoking down that line, wasn't he? Is he hurt? He hurt himself on the swing, maybe?
I don't know, but there wasn't much exit speed out of the batter's box.
It's the first time I've ever seen a crow hop on a guy turning a double play.
Here's Ryan Braun taking inside for ball 1. Braun threw out Marte. in the first inning, trying to score from third base on a shallow fly ball off the bat of Cervelli. Pirates had the bases loaded and nobody out at that point. And it was a very risky play on the part of Marte, and it worked out for Braun and the Brewers. You go from having the bases full and one out if the ball is just caught.
You got one out and bases loaded. That's not such a bad situation.
And ground ball to the right side. Walker charging after it. He's got it. He throws to first, and safe at first is Braun. Walker had to go a long way to get there. Then the double clutch to make sure he had the grip, and that gave Braun, who does run pretty well, a chance to get to first base safely.
Yeah, Braun's much faster than everybody thinks about his hitting, and I think the double clutch came because Pedro wasn't ready to receive the ball. But, he's an excellent base stealer. He does everything very well. Very good outfielder. Yeah, I think you saw from that wide shot, it looked to me like Walker was waiting for Pedro to turn around before he threw him the ball.
Carlos Gomez batting the cleanup spot. 2 outs and a man at first, and the pitch low for a ball. 1-0 to Gomez. Gomez was preparing to hit against Liriano tonight. Guy who hits pretty well, and there goes the helmet. Rarely does a game go by when Carlos Gomez does not swing and lose his helmet. One pitch. 2-1. But the numbers for Gomez against Liriano, 10 for 21 and 2 home runs. Against Worley, a different story, 3 for 15. Hitting just 200 against Vance Worley. Takes a strike, and it's 2-2. Brewers center fielder waits at the plate. Braun at first base.
Before that ground ball that Braun had, we were talking about the play at the plate, and that with nobody out, that was probably a ill-advised chance that I think Marte took. He got to be a little more conservative right there. Pirates really had a chance to blow the game wide open, and running into a double play really helped the Brewers out. Still a pretty good inning, but could have been much more. Sometimes the real fast guys will gamble a little too much.
Strike 3 call. Late strike call by Lance Barrett. Gomez down looking. 2 hits and 1 left. 3-0 after 1.
is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota helps you get the most out of your drive. Just ask a friend who drives one. Toyota, let's go places. And by Barrel Automotive, we're driven to be better. Let's go Bucks.
Pirates with a 3-0 lead starting the second inning. Vance Worley will lead off. It'll be 9-1-2, and Polanco and Walker to face right-handed Jimmy Nelson. Vance started a very nice double play with Parra on the move from first in the first inning. In fact, Jordy Mercer involved in that. He's turned a double play in at least 6 straight games now for the Pirates. And Vance got him started on his latest one. 3 out of 15 on the season. Swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes. Take a look at some of the Point Park University tweets about the production for the Pirates in the top of the first inning. And Vance down on strikes.
I think the hitting is probably what Vance is most excited about tonight.
He hopes to get 4 or 5 at bats.
Yeah, he'll get to go to the plate at least a couple of times. I don't think they'll let his pitch count get up high enough to where he'll get more than a couple at bats. But he loves to go up there and hit.
Polanco had a base hit in the first and scored a run. Came home when Walker had a base hit to center, and it was misplayed by Gomez. Looked like a routine one hopper to him, and it got past him and rolled to the wall. Walker went to third. Polanco scored. One ball and 1 strike. I think, Bob, the offense has to take the approach that, okay, that first inning's in the books. Now we got to win the second. You go out and win inning by inning now, don't you?
Well, I mean, you're always just trying to score runs. You don't really think about it as like, okay, we got to win the inning. You want to add on.
A couple of hops to Jeanette. 2 down. Brewers second baseman with the infield assist. Pirates second baseman at the plate right now, Neil Walker, who's 1 for 1, has extended his hitting streak to 8 games and has hit in 17 of his last 18, subject of our Barrel Automotive league leaders stat. Now among second basemen, second in doubles with 20. He's in the top 5 in those other categories. Strike 1 to Walker. Also leading Major League Baseball with 21 hits this month. Make that 22 hits this month for his first inning base hit. Chase the high one, and it's 0-2.
Getting away. Pitches upstairs this inning. Vance missed a couple up there.
Nelson looking in. He's got the sign, and now the 0-2. What do you think of these Pittsburgh Crawfords unis? The road unis. I've seen them at home before.
Seen them many times. Saw the Crawford unis up on the screen a while ago. They just had a P. They didn't say Pittsburgh.
Walker down on strikes. 3 strikeouts now for Nelson. A much different top of the second as he retires the side in order. Francisco Liriano pitch. This is what happened earlier. This is the Allegheny Health Network injury update. While warming up, just couldn't get loose. Tightness in his neck is the word we got from the clubhouse. Just unable to go as he walks off with Euclides Rojas, bullpen coach.
Watch the way he turns his body. See how he turns to face the infield there? Turned his whole body instead of just looking over his shoulder. Definitely could tell he couldn't turn his head.
Worley called upon at the last moment to make the start, facing Aramis Ramirez to start the Brewers half of the second inning. Pirates a 3-0 lead. Ramirez lobs this one toward left field. That can get down for a hit. I don't know if Marte had trouble seeing that ball. He made a gesture to McCutchen, perhaps like he was having trouble seeing it.
He's not going to catch this ball anyway, I don't believe. That ball.
He's just shielding his eyes from that sun. It comes in from the behind the first base side a little bit awkwardly sometimes. Can be tough on a left fielder.
But he's not looking into the sun. He's in the shadows. And he was shading his eyes. He was still in the shadow. So if you look at him out there now, he's not really looking into the sun. Our center field camera is definitely in the sun, looking into it.
And Scooter Gennett takes ball 1-1. 244 for Gennett. He was not initially in the starting lineup, but once the Pirates made the change to the right-hander Worley, Craig Counsell put left-handed hitters Parra and Gennett back in the lineup. He moved Gene Segura down. Segura was going to be leading off tonight. He moved him down to the 7th spot. And for some reason he left Maldonado in and did not start Adam Lind at first base, moving Lucroy back behind the plate. Well, he might have made that move as well. Lind is having a very good year for the Brewers.
Yes, he is. Really been mashing the ball. OPS, I believe, is up above 900.
15 home runs. 3-1 to Gennett. And a ground ball through into right field. A base hit. Back-to-back singles to start the second inning for the Brewers. Gennett aboard. Gennett was aboard 4 times in the game last night, only once with a hit. He walked twice, once intentionally, also hit by a pitch. And he ended up scoring 2 of the 4 Milwaukee runs in game 1. Segura fouls it back. .273 the average for the shortstop. Ahead of him 0-1. Ramirez at second base and Gennett at first. And he offered. That's strike 2. Two on and nobody out for Milwaukee. Segura's out on strikes. Second strikeout for Worley. He got Gomez last inning. And both strikeouts have come looking.
And they're both these two-seam fastballs that work back to the plate. You can really see it there. The ball starts off the plate outside and then just comes back in, catches that corner. To the hitter, he gives up on it. And by the time he realizes, oh, it's a fastball, it's going to come back. Oh, it's too late. Swing.
Martin Maldonado, the catcher. Chopper wide of third base, strike one. He's grounded into 3 double plays on the season. .196, 27 out of 138.
Pretty poor year with the bat.
That's a foul ball straight off his toe. And out to the mound for strike 2. His foot or his calf? His calf. Inside.
Can't feel good, but probably a little bit better than the shin, the ankle. Just get some meat back there on your calf.
Two on, one out, and the 0-2 pitch to Maldonado. Gets away from Cervelli, and moving up is Ramirez.
How's that not a strike? It's right down the middle.
That's a great question.
How is that not strike 3?
And that's what Cervelli wants to know.
I can't believe that's not strike 3. Look where this pitch is. Right down the middle of the plate. Mid-thigh. It's like putting it on a tee.
That's amazing.
Wow. Brewers got a break there. It should be 2 outs in the pitcher hitting.
So Worley's got to come up with strike 4 here. Now the 1-2. And a chopper to Worley. And take the out at first base. Give a good look to Ramirez at third, held in there. And now 2 outs, second and third, and Jimmy Nelson coming up. Nelson 3 out of 33, hitting .091. He struck out 21 times in his 33 at bats. Ball 1. Marte's got some help from the sun. Got some shades on.
I think Kutch just ran over and gave those to him.
Even though he's in the shade predominantly, he does have to come out in the south. There's a ball hit down the plate. Oh, it's called a fair ball. Ramirez scores. Here comes Jeanette. And it's now 3-2. Oh, and excuse me, base hit produces 2 runs. It's a 1-run game.
It had to go right over the top of the bag as quickly as that got into foul territory.
First base umpire Adam Hammery calls it a fair ball. And that is not reviewable, not challengeable, in case you're wondering, because it was in front of the umpire. Well, the Brewers on the board, and Parra swings and misses. And only challenge balls down the line when they are behind the first or third base umpire. Parra slaps it foul for strike 2.
I'm not sure we had to look at that anyway.
0-2 to Parra. Door's been open for Milwaukee. And Parra down on strikes. Third strikeout for Worley. But the Brewers pick up 2 runs. It's now 3-2. Ralph Kiner hit an 8th inning solo homer to break a 12-12 tie, giving the Pirates a 13-12 win over the Dodgers. It was Ralph's 3rd homer of the game as he drove in 7 for the Bucks, 4 of which coming on his 10th career grand slam. Joe Garagiola and Gus Bell also homered for the Pirates that day. Jackie Robinson and Roy Campanella homering for the Dodgers. So 3 home runs for Kiner. Robbie, you've got more.
Yeah, speaking of guys hitting 3 home runs in a game, we have kind of a pretty cool thing going on here at Miller Park. The last 3 guys to do it in Pirates history are guys that are all in this ballpark right now. So it's happened just 17 times, and only 10 different players have ever done it. The last 3 players to do it: Andrew McCutchen, Aramis Ramirez, and Darnell Coles. Coles was a Pirate for 2 seasons in '87 and '88. Is actually one of only 14 players in MLB history to do it in both the AL and the NL. Babe Ruth is among those guys as well. So Ralph Kiner, Willie Stargell led the Pirates in 3 homer games. You saw in the graphic, each guy did it 4 times. Clemente did it twice. Interesting stuff. So maybe tonight might not be a bad night for Kutch to do it again. Right, Tim?
That'd be any night's a good night for Kutch to do it again. It's been a while. It was. I remember that first one he hit right down the left field line against the Washington Nationals. Tucked it inside the foul pole. Aramis Ramirez has had his share.
Well, certainly the ballpark to get it done in.
The Pirates need to get those 2 runs back.
Always a fun place to come and watch batting practice. Balls are launched all over there, way back in the seats.
Oh, Kutch walked and scored in the first. And there's a strike call. Nothing in 1. And that is strike 2. And now Kutch getting upset. I get the feeling Lance Barrett's going to hear some things from at least one dugout, maybe both, before this game gets too much older. We'll go back to that pitch against Maldonado that was right down the middle. He called it a ball, went off the glove of Cervelli. Oh, 2 pitch. And that is to the right side of a base hit. Leadoff single for McCutchen.
Like Lucroy kind of spun his wheels as he tried to go after that ball. Didn't go anywhere. Off the end of the bat. Sounded like it broke the bat, but It went down a winner. Not a hit. Watch Lucroy. See how he kind of had one foot slide out? Couldn't really push to get to that ball.
Well, catch aboard, nobody out for Starling Marte.
It's kind of a thing that if you have a decent hitting catcher to put him out of first base to keep his bat in the lineup when you want to give him a little bit of a break from being behind the plate. But it doesn't always. It's not where you can just put somebody over at first thinking, okay, this is easy. You can do this. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it does not work out.
So the first catch back. The Giants do it with Buster Posey. Again, this is just the second start for Lucroy this year. His last one earlier in the season when Ron Renneke was managing, and it was against the Pirates.
The Pirates used to try and do something similar with Jason Kendall. That they experimented with putting him out in left field occasionally. And Kendall was such a great athlete. You thought, well, he'll be able to do that for sure. Just go out and play the outfield. No. Turned it out. He could not play the outfield, which was a shock to everybody.
0-2.
Sometimes if you have an offensive-minded player, teams will try and convert him full-time to a different position. So they don't have to worry about the wear and tear and taking his bat out of the lineup occasionally. Thinking of Biggio as a perfect example of that in Houston. They made that decision that they wanted him out from behind the plate early on in his career. Put him out at second base where he could become an everyday player. Didn't have to worry about resting him. It was so important on the offense.
Nelson out of the stretch. A 1-2 pitch to Marte. Struck him out.
Not so many curveballs, but pretty good sliders.
This Friday, the Pirates will play the Nationals at 7:05. First 20,000 receive a Raise It t-shirt. Compliments of FedEx Ground. Join the Barrel Automotive block party on Federal Street before the game. Food, live entertainment, and the Langenkrugel Bar. Get tickets at pirates.com/free shirt Friday. See a lot of Pirates jerseys, not only here at the ballpark, but around town. McCutchen has to scramble back to the bag. Pirates fans here in Milwaukee. See where Nelson throws this one. Whoop.
Almost over to the ball boy. Sitting down the line.
And Jung Ho takes ball one. Jung Ho with home run number 5 last night. And incidentally, for the record, Bob Watt called it on the radio just before he hit it. Into the place that he hit it to. So it's time where he gets one.
Not only call home run, I called location.
He called location.
That's right.
It's like when you're playing billiards, you got to get the right pocket.
Call your shot.
Not easy to do. 6 for 15 over the last 4 games. Jung Ho hoping to have a great road trip. Pirates will play one more here tomorrow and then off to Kansas City. First trip there since 2006. Pitch up high. 3 balls, no strikes to Jung Ho Kang. Jung Ho predominantly played shortstop in Korea. He did, however, play third base when he was involved in the World Baseball Classic. And now playing a lot of third here. Ball 4. 4-pitch walk. And the Bucks have 2 on with 1 out. Well, we want to see your strongest fan photo. use the hashtag PittDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast, perhaps as soon as tonight. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Keep an eye on your screen. You'll see some of those tonight. You might see that one. That one might be sent to us. You never know. I understand we have a very endearing photo tonight.
We do.
First one we'll see.
Can't wait now.
2 on, 1 out for Pedro. Ball 1. Pedro was hit by a pitch. Got a curveball in the right foot. His last home run came against the Cleveland Indians on the 5th of July.
Pedro's the only one that's seeing the hook that he's had all that previous success with against us.
Well, Nelson came out of the chute, fastball, 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 and after his 3rd pitch of the game, Pirates had a 2-0 lead. And he continued to throw the fastball until Pedro got up. Off-speed pitch there for a strike taken.
I believe that was a curveball. Didn't really break a whole lot, but speed-wise, this curveball, the average velocity is right at 82 miles an hour, and that's what that one was.
Breaking ball. Count is even 2-2. McCutchen at second base. Young is at first. McCutchen had a leadoff base hit on an 0-2 count. Marte struck out. Young walked. Strike 3.
They got all those curveballs and just locked him up, froze him with a fastball to knees.
Five strikeouts for Nelson. Cervelli flied to right field his first time up, turned into a double play.
He's got good velocity tonight. Feeling strong after the break.
His last outing before the break. Many around here think that it was his best one of the year. It was against the Dodgers. Took a no-hitter into the 6th. And then ended up giving up 3 unearned runs in the 7th inning and had to take the loss.
Average velocities as the game has progressed this season.
Pretty consistent. 1-0 to Cervelli. To right field and right at Braun. Pirates will leave 2. They get a hit. For 2.5. Pirates 3, Brewers 2. First half of 2015. Relive the most memorable moments, inside stories, and top plays so far this season on the best of Inside Pirates Baseball, presented by Allegheny Health Network tonight after postgame on Root Sports. On the UPMC scoreboard, Pirates 3, Brewers 2, heading to the bottom of the third inning. On with Bob Walker, I'm Tim Neverett. Robbie Ince-Mikowski with us also. Starling Marte is a fan walking along the concourse. A few Marte jerseys spotted around here today. Lucroy, first baseman, takes ball one. 0 for 1. So he grounded into a double play with Gerardo Parra on the move from first base. Hit a quick one right back to Vance Worley, who wheeled around, fired to Mercer at second base. And Jordy had all day to make the throw to first. Lucroy wasn't running down the line very well. Mercer's turn have been part of a double play in 6 straight games now. Hit on the ground to Jordy. 1 out. Short-gloved Jordy Mercer.
He made 6 errors this year. Pretty darn good for a shortstop.
I think as you start to develop, you get a tag of serviceable, and then when you start making a lot of plays, you get a tag as dependable. And Jordy's just been very, very dependable. Whatever the next one up from dependable is. Consistent, maybe?
Oh, I don't think he's lacking consistency.
He's been very good. Ron had an infield single in the first inning.
The only place where there's been inconsistencies in his major league career so far to this point has been with his bat. He's been a very slow starter and more of a second half player when it comes to the offense. He's always good with glove. And as a shortstop, you can never lose sight of that. It's so important. Some people think it's the most important defensive position on the field. You can't take your hitting woes out there with you. Jordy never does that.
Two ball, 1 strike pitch to Braun. Just missed low and away. It's 3-1. Braun had a pinch hit triple late in the All-Star game Tuesday night. It was his second All-Star game triple. He had another in 2012. 3-1 down the line. That is slicing foul. Full count on Braun. The Brewers wearing the uniforms of the Milwaukee Bears. Played 1 season in the Negro Leagues in 1923.
Really an excellent pitch right there. That ball tailing in right underneath his hands. You can see why Braun had such trouble even getting a piece of that.
Worley's payoff. Ground ball to short. Mercer does not make the routine play there.
Wow. And you don't believe in the jinx.
I don't.
Look at that. That was as simple a play as you could have. How can you not believe in the jinx?
Well, just because we're talking about how consistent he's been and how dependable he's been, and then he makes an error, it has nothing to do with what we say. Nothing.
That's what you think.
0.
That's what you think.
Now 1 out, and Carlos Gomez at the plate.
I thought I proved it to you last night.
No.
I made you say no hitter, and as soon as you said it, boom, it's gone. Next pitch.
Yeah. Doesn't mean it was a jinx. Just a coincidence. Big cut by Gomez. One on, one out, and a 1-1 count to Gomez. Gomez went down looking in the first inning. And a ground ball to third. Jung Ho fires across the infield to get Gomez. And let's head back to our Root Sports studios. Dan Potash has a game break. Pirates need a little help from the Mets. Not getting it. Ramos Ramirez with 2 outs and Braun the runner at second. Strike called on the inside part of the plate. Ramirez had a base hit in the second inning, scored a run. Had a double last night. Ball and 1 strike to Ramirez. And 2, Worley getting ahead. Pirates with 3 runs in the first. Brewers countered with 2 runs in the second. On a 2-run single up the first baseline by the pitcher, Jimmy Nelson. Two outs. Nelson cued it, and it might have caught a piece of chalk right in front of the first base bag. Went over the bag and called a fair ball. And Ramirez came in to score, and so did Scooter Gennett. Hit him with an off-speed pitch.
Tried to throw the curveball, and it just did not break. And when it's 2-2, you're trying to start it at him and throw it for a strike. And this ball just would not come back after he let it go.
A 2 on and 2 out. Batters Gennett.
To answer your earlier question, no, I don't like these uniforms.
You don't like them?
No, I don't like the color at all. I would much rather be the grays.
Homestead Grays. They're wearing the uniforms of the Pittsburgh Crawfords. They played in Pittsburgh from 1931 to 1938.
I think I have a Grays uniform at home somewhere.
Good. Got number 17 on it, or is it just?
No, I would have to be, because that was my number. So. We had throwback days even when I was playing.
The uniform ended up in your bag, and
yeah, how'd that happen?
How'd that happen? 1-1. Jeanette fouls it off, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. You must have had the bag on the floor when you took your jersey off. You accidentally dropped it in.
Yeah, they probably docked my paycheck.
One and 2 the count to the Brewers' second baseman, Scooter Gennett. Braun is at second base. Ramirez at first. And Worley's 1-2. Up the middle, a base hit. Braun will tie the game.
Well, last time up, they get kind of a seeing eye hit to the right side. And nothing seeing eye about this. That ball was well struck, blinded right back to the middle. Barely got through, but still, that ball was hit hard.
And Gennett, who had to be sent down to AAA because the bat was not working for him earlier in the season. Called back up in June. They're trying to put an anchor on that second base spot. It's 2 for 2. And he has been on base 6 straight times in this series. Every plate appearance has resulted in him getting on at least first base.
Nobody throwing in the bullpen right now. So this is just maybe to advance a little bit of a breather.
He's thrown 56 pitches. On the bottom of the third. Still 2 on, still 2 out, and back to square one.
I would probably like to see him get through 5 innings.
Gene Segura struck out first time up, pops this pitch up, shallow right, backpedaling is Walker. Polanco calls him off. 1 run for the Brewers, 1 big error, and 1 hit. We'll head to the 4th, 3-3. And the Brewers, 3 runs on 6 hits for Milwaukee, 3 runs on 5 hits for the Pirates. Want to congratulate Pirates team photographer Dave Arrigo. He and Jackie Morbick married today. Congratulations to Felix, as he is well known. Nobody has seen the Pirates in their history through the lens like Dave Arrigo has. I know, Bob, you've known Dave for a long time.
Yeah, he was the photographer back when I was still playing. He's been with the Pirates forever. And was that Peter Diane next to him there?
Yeah, Pete Diana.
Yeah, but Pete Diana there and Dave. My question is, who took the picture? How can they both be there in the same picture?
That's a good question. That might be the first time I've seen both of them together. Neither one had a camera. Jordy Mercer with a 1-0 count. Fouls it off. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, congratulations, Dave. That's great. That'll be the first time we ever called him Dave.
Nickname is
Felix.
Felix.
Yeah. Yep. I probably knew him for 5 or 6 years before I found out his name was Dave.
2-1. Felix. He likes Felix the cat.
I have a tattoo of Felix the cat.
Any idea who nicknamed him that, or was it just
way before me? I think it was when he was a kid.
Mercer hits this one in the air to right field, and Braun waiting. 1 out. Vance Worley will come up with 1 down. So this is a whole new ball game for Jimmy Nelson. I mean, it was a disastrous start. Could have been even worse if the Pirates didn't run into a double play with nobody out.
Remember when he got that visit in the first inning, and I said he's getting a pep talk. He's being told that, don't hit the panic button, that you're falling behind, but get the inning over the best you can, and just keep fighting. Throw up some zeros, and team will get you back in the ball game. That's what they always tell you. Believe me, I've been in that situation a lot where I fall behind early, and they're right. Most of the time, if you can stay focused and not panic, the club will get you back in the game. And that's what's happened with the Brewers at this point.
Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, on the right. Craig Counsell, the manager, on the left.
Look how many comeback wins the Pirates have gotten this year. Or the last, I'd say 2 or 3 years. It's almost a specialty of the club.
Ground ball to second. 2 out. Back to the top of the order, Gregory Polanco. The National League East Division leading Nationals return to PNC Park Thursday at 7:05. It's another military Thursday, and the bunch will be wearing camo jerseys and caps to honor our American military servicemen and women. Plus, stay after the game for a special weeknight Zambelli fireworks show. For tickets, go to pirates.com. Pitch to Polanco. Strike 1. Gregory's 1 for 2. Scored a run in the first. Grounded out to second in the second. Oh, 1.
Seems to be getting more comfortable with that curveball now, especially against the left-hand hitters. Going to it more and more. I was looking at his percentages in that last start you were talking about earlier. He threw his fastball less than 50% of the time.
A lot of curveballs in that game.
42% was kind of split pretty even between curveballs and sliders. 52%.
One, 2 to Polanco.
That looked like a slider there. Sometimes guys that throw both curveballs and sliders, as here you're going to see the slider can move just very little. It's a little harder than a curveball. The two pitches, it's hard to have them both working at the same time. They kind of come together a little bit. The curveball gets a little slurvy. The slider gets a little big.
Chopper to the left side, charging is Segura. Throws on the run to get him. Second time tonight, the Pirates have gone down in order. Through 3.5, it's a 3-3 ball game.
Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Chevy Trax and your Western PA Chevy dealers. By Fridays, Happy Friday, and by Day Automotive. We're gonna make your day. Let's go Bucks!
3-3 as we start the bottom of the fourth inning. Martin Maldonado, the catcher, will lead off against Vance Worley. And the pitcher Jimmy Nelson, and top of the order Gerardo Parra after that. First pitch in for a strike. Maldonado grounded out back to Worley in the second inning. Occasionally fill in for Lucroy. Lucroy will get the bulk of the starts behind the plate. He's not injured, of course. He did spend some time on the DL this year, so Maldonado had extended time behind the plate.
He's got a lot of plate appearances, 154.
He's made 41 starts as a catcher. Appeared in 33, or rather started 33 or 38 games while Lucroy was on the DL from the 21st of April through the 31st of May. 1-2.
Pretty good pitch right there. Maldonado is hard to strike out, you know. He takes 2 strike pitches in the strike zone. They just don't get called.
It happened the first time up. I mean, he took one thigh high down the middle, and it was called a ball.
He must do a good job of keeping the foul tips off the umpires. I like him.
They repay him by giving him a keyhole for a strike zone. Ground ball to short. Mercer's got it. And he fires on first for the out. Maldonado 0 for 2. Jordy back on the saddle. Well, Jimmy Nelson with an excuse me 2-run single in the second inning with 2 outs. 4th hit of the year. With 1 out, he takes a strike. So he's got a career high now in hits with 4. Last year he had 3 in 21 at bats. Little bouncer to Worley. 2 out.
Not a real strong swing that time.
Now the swing of the pitcher.
Watch the swing. That one hurt. But he's got 2 RBIs. That'll make those hands feel better. Thinks about that.
Gerardo Parra is 1 for 2. Parra really has heated up. Ranks 10th in the National League in batting average. .311 coming into the game. Not happy with that, and that is against the speed up rules, what he just did. If this game goes over 2 hours and 45 minutes, he'll get fined. Or at least that's what we understand. Pitch looked a little low. Vance might have got a call. And the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's one thing you don't hear about these days. It's just maybe because we don't ask the questions enough, or you take it for granted. Is players getting letters from the league? Are they getting fined the way that they said they were supposed to? Down the left field side, but Commissioner Rob Manfred at the All-Star game said that games were down about 9 minutes, which is pretty substantial.
Yeah, it's worked. I guess you could do some other tweaks and maybe even take a few more minutes off a game. But I think taking 9 minutes off the average game time this year, it's been a great success. Keep the hitters in the batter's box.
Two and 2 to Parra. Sure how the speed up rules would be affecting a game as we went into spring training. Started to get used to the clock that they have in the outfield at every ballpark now,
which does nothing, by the way.
It operates.
It's the hitters having to stay in the batter's box. See how he's having to stay in the batter's box? That's what's speeding. He doesn't take a walk out to the grass and mess with his gloves and all that stuff that guys used to do. Now they have to stay there and ready to hit. Now you can get your sign and go into the windup.
Payoff pitch.
Now he can take his walk because he hit a foul ball.
Well, there's one good function of that clock, but gives us some physical evidence as to how much time we have left in the commercial break, which is helpful, probably more on radio than on TV, but it's helpful. I don't know if you ever look at it.
No, I never pay attention to it whatsoever. Because it doesn't matter. We come out of the commercial break when the commercial's over, not when the clock says.
Well, but if you sometimes you have to do things during the commercial break, I mean, you might have to get something ready for the next half inning. Maybe you don't. Sometimes I do.
This is what I usually do.
So I'll have 30 seconds to do it. Cool.
That's what I do during commercial break.
That's what you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go get a coffee, whatever. I have you and Greg to take care of the business end of things. As long as I don't make noise with my headset when I come back, then nobody says anything.
That's very clutch.
If I make noise, then I get yelled at.
You can't take this and throw it down. You can't fire them down.
That little button right there? Yeah, up there it is. See how my voice goes away when I hit that button? I have to make sure I have that pressed down when I mess with my head.
Special effects.
The technology is amazing.
Here comes the 3-2 again. And Parra will give us more time.
By the way, do you want a coffee or anything? I'm going after this.
No, I'm okay. We've got some water up here. Fine.
While you're throwing it to the break, I'll be standing up. I'll have my finger on the button, so I won't make any noise.
Bob's got his own speed up rules. Speeding up toward the break. This will be the 10th pitch of the at bat between Worley and Parra. And he walked him.
Won't be able to get that coffee yet. It's quite a battle. Parra's still talking to the umpire about some of those strike calls, I'm sure. You know, Parra, you mentioned how he's been hitting and how hot he is. He might be hitting himself right off this Brewer team.
A couple of weeks to the deadline.
Yeah, he's going to be a name that gets brought up the way he is swinging the bat. Good outfielder, defensive wise.
He has improved his trade value, that's for sure. His stock's gone up. Working on pitch number 75. He threw 81 in his last start on the 14th of May against Philadelphia, his former club. So he hasn't thrown this many pitches since that time. Spot start for him. In case you joined us late, we're expecting to see Francisco Liriano. It was a very late scratch. He was actually out in the outfield starting to throw and couldn't get loose. Neck tightness. He left the field. He went to the clubhouse, and Worley was called upon for an emergency start.
Cervelli has called time to go out. I think after that long 10-pitch at bat, just kind of give him a little bit of a blow after he threw ball one here. You realize that he's been extended a lot in this game. As you were just mentioning, he hasn't been out there in starting role and thrown this many pitches in a long time.
Now Clint's going to make a phone call.
Yeah, I think the visit by Cervelli is going to cause that phone call. See who gets up in the bullpen.
Deolis Guerra getting up. Now Lucroy with 2 outs and a 1-ball count on him. Parra at first. This one's hammered. And the Brewers have taken a lead. It's 5-3 Milwaukee. Third home run of the year for Lucroy.
That was a breaking ball he left down and in. Ball that just did not get outside. See where the target is. It's off the plate away, and the ball actually was about a little bit above the knees on the inside half of
the plate. Ray coming out for a visit in that 2-out walk to Parra, and he started Lucroy 1-0. The visit by Cervelli, and then you mentioned where he let the curveball, and then
it might be a case of just being a little out of gas. You know, one of the things that starts to go when you get tired is not necessarily velocity, it's location. You start losing your release point, the consistency of your release point, and I think that's what we're seeing here in this inning with Worley. That just is running up against a little bit of a wall.
Deolis Guerra continues his warm-ups. Braun fouls it back. Brewers have scored 5 times unanswered, twice in the second, once in the third, and now twice here in the fourth on the 2-run homer by Lucroy. Pirates had 3 runs in the top of the first inning. That's been it. Nelson had settled down after that, after a real rough start, and didn't have much help from his defense either. 2 first-inning errors by the Brewers. One by Gomez, the center fielder, another by the shortstop Segura. Both on very routine plays. 0-2 pitch. Braun got a piece of it.
Yeah, I hope we aren't talking about that inning later on in a negative way. Pirates had bases loaded, nobody out. And Marte tried to score from third on a very shallow fly ball to right field and was thrown out for a double play, a 9-2 double play. And that basically was the end of things. And it looked like they were going to really bust it open early.
Strike three. Braun goes down. But the Pirates fall behind as Worley gives up a 2-run shot to Lucroy. It's a hug from his manager. The outing did not end as well as it started for Vance. He ends up giving up 5 runs. 4 of them earned.
And it's too bad that the 4th inning went the way it did. A couple of quick outs and then the long at bat, the 10-pitch at bat. Hara, that took it out of him.
Walker will lead off. And the Pirates trying to get the offense going again. Walker, McCutchen, Marte, 2, 3, and 4 against Nelson. There's a breaking ball in there for a strike.
There's the curveball.
Oh, 1 pitch. In the left field, shallow. Segura, the shortstop there. 1 out. Let's check in with Robbie.
Well, you might be wondering about Andrew McCutchen, the elbow guard. He was hit on June 27th by Julio Teheran of the Atlanta Braves. Kutch is on his 2nd elbow guard since then. It's quite an adjustment process for him to get used to wearing. Now, he wore a yellow one, kind of a camouflage one, when he first got hit. And then he came back home in the last homestand and tried that. That one is a little bit more comfortable. He's been working pretty extensively with that athletic trainer, Todd Tomzik. But his best option, Tim and Bob, is to not wear one at all. But for now, he's on elbow guard number 2.
Thanks, Robbie. And the pitch to him. He's outside alone.
You know, one of the things we're seeing from Nelson, besides the fact that he's mixing in some off-speed pitches, different from that first inning, he's starting to locate the fastball much better. He put a great pitch on Walker for that little pop fly after he started him off with the curveball at the knees for a strike. Maldonado gave him a target up at the letters for the fastball, and he put it right there, and that's how he got that pop fly. It's not just the type of pitches he's been throwing now, mixing in. It's also the control that he is showing, that he didn't have hardly any command. Remember in the first inning, he was missing his spots with the fastball by sometimes 2 or 3 feet, bouncing him way outside in the dirt. Fastballs out there.
1-1. 2 balls and a strike to Kutch. Been on base twice. Scored once. Pretty close one there, taken for a ball.
I see, that's another one where he's just kept trying to spot it right on the corner. Didn't miss by much. Good pitch. That's the kind of pitching he's been doing since the first inning. Trying to go away from Kutch again.
And he is walked for the second time. For the base runner, this will bring the tying run up in Starling Marte.
It's respect right there. With ball four could be coming up, and they still try to just nick the strike zone. Refuse to actually try and give you anything you can hit at the risk of putting you on base.
Marte sits safely in 6 of his last 8 games here at Miller Park, including a first inning single today. And this one down to third base. Ramirez to second for one. Return safe at first. Marte beats out a would-be double play ball. Fielder's choice for Marte. 2 outs, runner at first.
And Marte really gets down that line extremely well, but he has grounded into 7 double plays this year. Seems like an awfully high number for Marte. I guess that means he's getting ready to steal. He's putting on the oven mitt.
That's his stealing mitt.
Like a burglar putting on some gloves.
Well, he has caught Polanco and tied him for the team lead with 17 steals.
Well, I think he could be a 40 or 50 steal a year guy. He's got that kind of talent.
Jung Ho, late swing. Marte off of first base. 2 men out. The 0-1 pitch to Jung Ho. Behind in the count, 0-2. Nelson getting his sign for Maldonado. 2 strikes. Maldonado, a pretty good stop there to keep Marte at first.
Surprised that Marte hasn't taken off yet.
And a swing and a miss, and that is strike 3. Jung Ho strikes out. Pirates leave a man, and after 4.5, it's a 5-3 Milwaukee lead. First pitcher at Miller Park, Taylor Youngman, who made his major league debut against the Pirates at PNC Park, will make his 8th start. He's 4-1, an impressive start for him. He will oppose Pirates lefty Jeff Locke. Locke will make his 18th start and look for his 6th win. That is tomorrow in our finale, right here on Root Sports, before we head off to Kansas City. Sean Rodriguez comes into the ballgame to play third base. And Deolis Guerra will come in to pitch. This is a double switch. Jung Ho Dung makes the last out. Guerra goes in his spot. And Rodriguez into the 9th spot. That'll come up 4th in the bottom of the top of the 6th inning.
Oh, obviously, look at those numbers. Guerra's been a nice addition to the bullpen. He's come in and basically done his job in a very good way.
Facing Carlos Gomez.
First couple of times he was out, he was on the mound at the end of the game for wins. That'd be kind of exciting for him. Might be able to pick up a W tonight. Pirates can retake this lead while he's out there.
Foul tip into the glove of Cervelli for a strike.
Gomez will let that bat go, doesn't he? He swings hard. Does not get cheated.
See, again, that's the second time today he's lost his helmet. He leads the league in losing his helmet on a swing. But far and away the league leader in this category if they kept the stat.
He's not trying to poke that to right.
And now Guerra delivering the 1-2. Hurl going to the bullpen. Deolis Guerra giving him an opportunity. They liked him in spring training, gave him a good look in Florida. Gomez pops this one up. Jordy Mercer out. And Mercer goes a long way to make the play, and there's one gone in the Milwaukee half of the 5th. Point Park University tweets. Bob, how hard is it for a pitcher like Worley to pitch an effective game after a sudden change as of today?
Well, it's no different than coming into any other game. If the starter gets knocked out in the second, it's a sudden change. You're in the ball game, so it really is not any different. He had plenty of time. In fact, he had more time to get warmed up than he would normally have if the starter got knocked out of the game earlier. So, and I'm sure Worley would be the first to tell you that had nothing to do with giving up the 5 runs today. I mean, that is the job, and you're prepared for it all the time. And when you're out there in the bullpen as the log man every single day, you might get in a ball game, or you might go, and we talked about this in the very first inning, you might go 10 days, you might go 2 weeks without ever getting in a game. It comes with the territory with that particular job in the bullpen.
Ramirez hits one high and deep to left. To the track is Marte. It's gone. Home run number 11 for Ramirez. It's 6-3.
Well, there's why he takes those big, hard swings. He does have bat speed and power. It looked like they were trying to throw an off-speed pitch inside. I don't understand why they would try and do that with the way he is trying to pull everything. Kind of played into his hands a little bit there. If you're going to go slow, you got to stay away, especially when the hitter is trying to rip everything down off the left field foul pole.
0-1 to Jeanette. Into right. And Polanco will play it on a hop. Gregory just didn't get a jump on that ball at all.
He thought this was hit a lot harder. Came off the end of the bat. He was fooled by the swing. Big swing, but the ball probably hit the last inch of the bat. Just didn't have any carry.
Ramirez with a home run in the dugout, and at first base, Jeanette, he's 3 for 3. At the plate, Segura. 1 out. Garrow's pitch. Up the middle. And Jeanette will take a big turn and throw to second. And Segura with his first hit. And the Brewers bats are swinging here to start the second half of the season.
That was a elevated pitch. Well high, got hit hard. Scooter having a scurry back after the ball thrown behind him.
Garrow with 2 on behind him, 1 out. Maldonado was grounded out twice. Strike 1, this one just by the Pirate dugout. Pirates are up 3-0 until the second inning. Jimmy Nelson, a 2-run base hit, helped his own cause with 2 outs. Got the Brewers on the board, 3-2. They tied it in the third. An error by Jordy Mercer on Ryan Braun allowed him to come around to score. Scooter Jeanette would have a base hit later in the inning. This one ripped foul for strike 2.
And they are centering the baseball suddenly.
2 home runs for the Brewers. 1 a 2-run shot by Lucroy that broke the 3-3 tie. Untied the game. And Ramirez an insurance homer in the 5th. 3 straight hits off of Garrow with 1 out. Nice pitch right there, and that strikes him out. Stood him up with a curveball. Maldonado is 0 for 3.
Well, he's taken a lot of strikes. Got one called finally. Should have struck out looking the first 2 times up.
Yeah, you're right. Nelson, 3rd time at the plate. He's 1 for 2. 1 ball, no strikes. Nelson's average now at 114. First 2 RBIs of the season.
Maybe it was career, huh?
This one hit deep to center field. Going after it is McCutchen. Will make the catch, and the Brewers will strand 2. They get 1 on 3 hits. Pirates need to get the bats going as we go to the 6th.
Brought to you by Allegheny Health Network. Health for all. By Kenny Ross. Ask a neighbor. And by Levin Mattress. Located in all Levin Furniture showrooms and freestanding stores. Let's go Bucks!
Brewers have doubled up the Pirates 6-3 as we head to the 6th inning. Pedro Alvarez getting set to lead off for the Pirates. On the road traveling and want to watch your Pirates? Subscribe to MLB.TV Premium for live or on demand on over 400 devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Those guys just came to the game. Not everybody can when they're on the road. Or if you are on the road, check it out. Jimmy Nelson starting the 6th. Pedro is 0 for 1. Was hit by a pitch by Nelson in the 1st inning. Pedro struck out on a fastball. Saw nothing but curveballs. Then the pitch that struck him out was a knee-high fastball in the 3rd. Brewers, and their record 39-52, but they have been playing good baseball since late June. They have the same record as the Pirates since the 23rd of June at 14-6. There's only one team in baseball with a better record during that time. That's the Angels. They're 13-5. One-0. Strike one.
Yeah, the Brewers, where they buried themselves so deeply early in the year, it's kind of a little too late for them. So I would think that they'll be looking toward next season when trade talks begin. I'm sure they've already begun.
Popped up right in front of the plate. Maldonado. 1 out.
Had such a poor start, they had to make a manager change. Straight up the chute.
1 down. Cervelli the batter. He's 0 for 2. And the Brewers were 7-18 under Ron Renicky this season. They let him go, and Greg Counsell took over on the 4th of May. And since that time, the Brewers have played 2 games under 500 at 32-34. Counsell, a former teammate of John Wayner's with the Marlins World Championship team, 97. And 2 to Cervelli. And Nelson's 0-2 pitch. Ground ball up the middle. That'll get through for a base hit. Cervelli is 1 for 3.
Well, we need some base runners. So easy to quickly get back in the ball game here. You get a couple guys on base, just however, with walks and scratch, ground ball, singles, whatever you can. And we talk all the time about how home run friendly this ballpark is. Not that difficult to put up a quick 3 runs.
Mercer takes outside and low. It's been a while since Jordy hit him. He hit 2 in back-to-back games in San Francisco. June 1st and June 2nd. Hasn't had a long ball since. 2-0 to Mercer. Mercer facing Nelson for the fourth time this year. This is the fourth start for Nelson against the Pirates. Jordy hits one to center field, playable for Gomez. 2 men out for the Pirates in the 6th. I guess it's just how well you pitch on any given day. You can have better days than others, but when you start seeing the same pitcher several times during the season, you expect to see him at least one more time this year, maybe twice. There can be some familiarity, but does it just come down to how they're pitching that particular day?
Well, familiarity is a double-edged sword. It works for the pitcher too. He's getting really familiar with the Pirate hitters. Knows what's working, what's not working, and it goes to what you were just saying. It depends on how you're pitching that day. Familiarity with the hitters or scouting reports, none of that would matter at all if he continued to have the command problems he had in that first inning. What difference does it make what your knowledge is if you can't throw the ball within a foot of where you're aiming, or 1.5 to 2 feet times? So it is, the physical pitching that really is the foundation that everything else gets built on as far as your knowledge. It's like the scouting reports, your knowledge, you can kind of think of that a little bit maybe as fine tuning, but you got to be able to put the ball where you want to, or at least close, or none of that other stuff even matters. And I think the way Nelson's pitched tonight really illustrates that the first inning didn't make any difference. Who was hitting, what was going on? He could not throw the ball where he wanted to. It was all fastballs. It was almost like he was concerned that if he threw a curveball, he might not be able to catch it up there or something. I don't know really what was going on with him in that first inning. It'd be interesting to talk to him.
Rodriguez strikes out. 1 hit for the Pirates, and they leave a man. Allegheny Health Network Supermo telling some of the stories of the game so far. 6 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors for the Brewers. 3-6-1 the line for the Pirates. With Bob Walk, Robbie Inchmakowski, I'm Tim Neverett. Skippers, Clint Hurdle, Craig Counsell. Squaring off here tonight. Pirates trying to mount some sort of a comeback. We've got to hold the Brewers down as the top of the order will hit here in the 6th. Gerardo Parra facing Deolis Guerra. And the pitch to Guerra. Ball one. From Guerra to Parra, beg your pardon. Throwing a bunt. And that's foul ball for strike one. Early went 4 tonight. Ended up throwing 80 pitches. 51 for strikes. Guerra, the second pitcher used by the Pirates. Mariano, a late scratch tonight. No update on Frankie either during the course of the game. We hope to get some sort of update later, after the game perhaps. Two balls and a strike to Parra. Fouled off. The word we got just before the first pitch was neck tightness. And we'll see what that means, or what the elaboration of that is as we move along either later tonight or sometime tomorrow. Two to Parra. To the left side, Rodriguez. Tough play. Wow, what a play by Sean Rodriguez.
Yeah. Extremely difficult to come in and backhand that in-between hop on the dead run and then throw a perfect strike across the infield. You won't see any third baseman anywhere make that play any better than that. That's a great job.
Such a solid defender. Doesn't matter where you put him.
You're talking about a utility guy just made that, quote unquote utility player. He makes incredible plays in the outfield, wherever you put him, first base, middle infielder, doesn't matter. He can play.
Lucroy takes ball one. Well, I know when you look at him, you say, hey, he's valuable as a utility guy, but let's just say you had the job of picking an everyday position for him. Where would you put him? If he had to play every day at one spot.
It would matter wherever you need him.
I guess it's hard to decide.
Yeah.
Either corner he does well. Outfield he can play that. We've seen him make some great plays out there. He is the Pirates' emergency catcher too, by the way. Although he's never caught in a big league game, he told me. Hasn't pitched or he hasn't caught. He's played everywhere else.
I'm sure he could do either one of those just fine. Probably warm guys up in the bullpen. Good base coach.
Probably wrap ankles too. Trainer.
Yeah. In the old days, that's how you got trainers. Players that did it, ex-players could wrap ankles, rub arms, they became trainers.
Our Yellowwood bringing the lumber comes to us off the bat of Jonathan Lucroy in the fourth inning, a two-run homer that unlocked a 3-3 game. Third home run of the year for Lucroy. Right now behind in the count to Deolis Guerra, 1 ball 2 strikes. This one ripped down the left field line and it was caught by a young man, or an older man. Young at heart.
Younger than I am, so young man.
The other thing about Rodriguez, he could even be a groundskeeper the way he handles a tarp.
Yeah. Not much at the ballpark he couldn't do. Could even work in security because it looks like Serpico. Be in law enforcement.
That's right. Lance Barrett took that off the mask. He's all right. And the 1-2 again to Jonathan Lucroy. Got him swinging. Lucroy down on strikes. There are 2 gone for the Brewers in the 6th.
Oh, that ball just rolled off the table, didn't it? Watch this ball change direction. Whoop. Pretty good hook.
That's nasty.
Nice hook.
Ryan Braun with 2 outs. Even a miss. In front of an off-speed pitch.
How about the way Garrett hikes the baseball after he nods yes to the sign? He will not let the hitter see it. He just sneaks it into his glove. I didn't want him to get a peek at that baseball early. Kind of hides it, leaves it right on his hip.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Braun.
To come up with a stretch like this, you had to actually give it some thought. It's not just natural.
And the 1-2. So Belly got a piece of that.
He had to jump way out there and try to block it. There's 2 strikes. That was so far over there. If it hadn't been 2 strikes, he could have just waved at it, let it go to the backstop, get another baseball. But with 2 strikes, you never know. You might get a swing, check swing. No matter where the pitch is, you have to try and block it. And that one stung him somewhere. Got him on the side of the wrist. That what it looks like.
Throwing hand. 2-2 to Braun. On the count full, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
I always wondered why the catchers don't just leave that throwing hand behind them when they're catching. I guess they're trying their best to even risking their throwing hand by putting it out there, trying to block it with that. He starts it back there in safety.
Braun draws a walk. Braun's been on base 3 out of 4 times. Only once with a hit.
Can run a little bit. With 2 outs is certainly a running situation. He has only been thrown out once this year.
Cervelli going out to talk to Garrett, maybe to remind him of just that. We'll talk to him how to pitch to Gomez.
On their best base stealer.
Guerra got his first big league win on the 30th of June at Detroit. Just his 3rd major league game after being promoted from AAA. Called up on the 26th of June. 2-1 for Indy. 2 outs, Braun at first, and Guerra set to face Gomez. Throw to first, and Braun dives back. There goes Braun. Cervelli throw from his knees into center field. And Braun safely at third. His 14th steal. He'll go down to third base in the throwing error.
You knew he was going to run. Look at that lead he had. Cervelli maybe should have just held on to that one, not thrown it at all, especially not from his knees.
Gomez fouls it back. Ball and a strike to Gomez.
Half swing there.
For him, that's a half swing. 2-1.
Jack Clark. Yeah. Giants, Cardinals. He used to take those big swings like that. I mean, he never would back off. Since we're in Milwaukee, Rob Deere.
Strikeout or a home run.
Yeah, he would get his hacks, and he would swing very hard.
Swing, bunt, foul. Tapped by the glove of Cervelli. They're dead in the ball. And the helmet on the ground again.
Not the size of the M that they put on the helmet. Huge, isn't it?
It's a large one. Big letter. Good looking pitch there. Just missed.
It's got to be the biggest letter on any helmet baseball.
Braun, the runner at third base, 2 outs, 3-2 to Carlos Gomez. Gomez will head down to first base. Second walk in a row with 2 outs issued by Guerra. Ray looks like he's coming out for a visit. Ramirez gets ready to hit.
It's quiet bullpen, so this is nothing but a visit. Just I mean, it's not like going to try and take some time off the clock and try to get somebody warmed up. It's just going out and trying to get him in the strike zone.
5th inning with 1 out. Ramirez facing Guerra. Towering fly ball that landed in the first row. That made it a 6-3 ball game.
And normally you see the pitching coach kind of give the pitcher a little slap on the back. Let's go. I think it was opposite that time. I don't see that very often.
No.
Guerra kind of slapped Ray and like, all right, thanks.
All right. Coach?
It's supposed to be the other way around.
Good talk. Good talk. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Well, you don't see that very often. Pitcher coach does all the patting on the back.
Well, tonight the Cubs are in Atlanta. They lead 2-0 heading into the 8th inning, and John Lester for Chicago has a no-hitter going.
Who does?
John Lester.
What inning?
8th. Top of the 8th.
Top of the 8th. No hitter.
There's a bit of controversy involved, though, and Dan Potash is going to tell us about that coming up shortly. He'll give you the scoop. Pitch to Ramirez. A little low for a ball. Last go round for Ramirez. He will retire after this season. So this will be his last.
That's the plan.
That's the plan for now, he says. That's what they all say.
Did you just see that?
Yeah.
Looks like a jackrabbit. I've never seen somebody taking a lead jump straight up in the air. That's when you want to throw the pickoff throw.
Take a look at that
Watch
again.
this. Jeez, he just jumped straight up.
Two out to Ramirez. Ground ball through the open hole on the right side. It's now 7-3. Throw goes all the way to third base. Ramirez knocks in Braun.
I think that was an accidental hit. I think that came right. He just cued off the end of the bat. Makes up for the times where hitters hit the line drive at somebody. That ball was just hardly rolling by the time it got to Blanco.
Ramirez 3 for 3. He's been on base 4 times. He was also hit by a pitch. 2 RBIs in the game for Ramos Ramirez. That is 7 unanswered runs for the Brewers. Scooter Gennett skies this one to right field. Gregory Polanco in. He makes the catch. Run comes in on 1 hit, 2 left. On to the 7th in Milwaukee. Just reporting it. Thanks, Dan. That's got to be a weird deal to see a hit being taken off the board. Thinking you got a one-hitter now. Oh, wow.
Well, I think it's a great strategy by the Cubs. Because that way nobody can, nobody's going to say no-hitter because he's not throwing one. Right? And then they change it back to an error, and now it's too late to jinx them.
Remarkable. The anti-jinx play. It's the old anti-jinx play. Should happen more often.
They camouflage the no-hitter into a one-hitter, and so that way then nobody could jinx them.
That one is slicing away and into the gap. And into second base with a leadoff double is Gregory Polanco. His second hit of the night.
The last thing I was talking about how you can get 3 runs very easily. Well, that's still the case now. 3 runs is not tied, but you're right back in the ball game. Makes it a 1-run game. A couple more runners on, and somebody hit one out of here. Kutch is on deck. I was talking earlier about the way that hitters put on a show here during batting practice. Kutch was certainly one of those guys. He was hitting them out to all fields with ease during BP.
One of those parts that he hits exceptionally well in. Over time he has. He's 20 home runs against the Brewers. Most by any active player other than Jay Bruce of the Reds, who also has 20 against Milwaukee. Pedro's next with 18. Polanco at second base, nobody out, and Walker awaiting the pitch from Nelson. This one's fouled back. Well, Bob, you broke up another no-hitter by mentioning it. As the no-hitter's gone for John Lester, I understand. So
I'll explain to you one day how it works long distance. It's not really one person. It's one of those things that's they pile up from people all over the country talking about it. And you get enough of them, then one of those mentions is the straw that breaks the camel's back. Could have been us. I don't know.
Whatever Bob just said, please disregard it. Disregard all that nonsense.
It's not nice.
It's true, though. Oh, 2. That's inside.
So you're totally not superstitious about anything.
No. What's the sense?
Are you superstitious about anything?
Probably not. No, not anymore.
Okay, all right.
Not that I can think of anymore.
All right.
Used to be years ago, but not now. But I understand from the player's standpoint, it's a thing. And I get that. I understand.
Well, the official score just took a sigh of relief.
He did.
So he was going to be having to do some explaining as to why he changed that call.
Well, that would have been easy. Just blame me. I get blamed for everything. Even when it's not my fault. Well, 2-2 to Neil Walker. And the 2-2 pitch coming. And Neil down on strikes. Nelson still has something going here in the 7th inning. His pitch count getting up high.
Still throwing hard. That was 95 and swing and a miss.
Celebration of the Pittsburgh Pirates autograph and memorabilia show will take place next Saturday at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center. Public appearances by Andrew McCutcheon, Neil Walker, Gregory Polanco, Starling Marte, Glenn Hurdle, Dave Parker, plus more current and former Pirates. Admission is free. For signing schedule, pricing, and to order autograph tickets, go to huntauctions.com/store. So Nelson's done. 98 pitches for him in a game in which it looked like it was off to a horrible start for him. He settled down and he leaves with a 4-run lead.
Is presented by the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Andrew McCutchen coming up, top of the 7th, 1 on, 1 out. He'll face a new pitcher, right-hander Jeremy Jeffress.
Jeffress, hard thrower. It's had quite a bit of success this season. 42 games, been busy, hadn't lost one yet. See if we can change that here.
Jeffress to face Andrew. Andrew with a base hit last time up. Beg your pardon, he walked last time up. Had a base hit in the 3rd. He's walked twice tonight. He has not had a hit against Jeffress in his career. He's 0 for 3 against him. Count goes to 2-0. Pirates need to find a way to now to do it against the bullpen of Milwaukee after Jimmy Nelson ended up with 6 1/3 solid innings. Quality start for Nelson so far. He's still responsible for Polanco at second base. If Polanco would score, that'd be his, and that would erase the quality start.
Jeffress has not been very good this year at stopping inherited runners from scoring. Almost 9 out of the 20 he's inherited have crossed home plate. Not a number that a reliever would like to see next to his name.
And the 3-0 is there for a strike. Jeffress' last outing was Sunday at Los Angeles. Gave up an earned run on 2 hits in an inning. He had 9 straight scoreless outings prior to that. That was snapped. Oh, that time McCutchen reached back and threw it in at 96.
Most of the time with right-handers up there anyway, he throws fastballs. You can kind of set on it a little bit, but you almost have to set on, catch up with it, because you can throw upper 90s. Always sounds fast too when it pops a glove like that.
All 4. 3rd time McCutchen has walked tonight. Jeffress out of the Brewer bullpen walks the first man he faces, and now 2 on for Marte.
have certainly pitched around cuts tonight. And I think that must be the plan. Giving hardly anything to hit most of his at bats. See if Marte can burn him. Get ready to hit the fastball.
Marte had a base hit in the first. 1 for 3 in the game. Takes a strike.
Ishikawa is out on deck. Looks like he's going to be the pinch hitter.
He would hit in the pitcher's spot after the double switch. 2 strikes. Ishikawa picked up recently from the Giants just before the All-Star break. He spent the bulk of the season in AAA in Sacramento. Polanco at second, McCutchen at first, 1 out. 0-2 to Marte. Jeffers looking in at Maldonado. He's got a sign. And this one roped down the left field line. That's headed for the corner. Around third is Polanco. He will score. McCutchen is going to be held at third, and in with a run scoring double is Starling Marte. It's now 7-4.
That's what you're hoping for. That base runners on. They pitched around Kutch. Wouldn't give him anything to hit. They put him on. And now Marte gets a breaking ball that they went away from that good heater. Ripped it into the corner. Nelson probably getting a little nervous now. And indeed, another inherited runner has now scored versus Jeffers.
And the bullpen phone of Milwaukee ringing. Tying run at the plate. Travis Ishikawa. He's faced Jeffers just once. He has a hit off of him. Fastball is up. Travis became a San Francisco baseball hero last October. His walk-off homer in Game 5 against the Cardinals in the National League Championship Series won the Giants the pennant. And the trip to the World Series, and they would eventually win. Fouled off. Travis, a former Brewer. Antonio Bastardo warming up. Bucks battling to get back in this ball game. Second and third, 1 out. Outside, 2-1. Stretch by Jeffers. And a ground ball up the middle. A diving stop by Segura. Throw to first. He's out. A run scores. That saved the run, perhaps. With Marte's speed, that ball gets through. He might have come around. And
well, you don't know how these next couple innings are going to go, but this play right here could be a game saver. That's absolutely huge. If it's through, even if they don't score Marte, yeah, there's 1 out, first and third. That was a absolute excellent play. Ishikawa had to think he had a base hit up through the middle. He hit it firm.
Seven to 5 now. Alvarez 0 for 2, hit by a pitch tonight. 1 strike to Pedro. And hitting 6th in the lineup. He has 10 home runs. And that is tied for the major league lead with Kansas City's Alex Gordon.
He's seen a lot of breaking balls tonight, hasn't he? Nelson, when Nelson was throwing nothing but fastballs early in the game, he did throw curveballs to Pedro. And that was a pretty good curveball that Jeffers just threw to him. There's another one.
Jimmy Nelson still watching and
nervous now.
Not comfortable yet.
Nervous now. He's had that big lead perhaps disappearing.
And he'll be charged for 4 of the 5 runs. So 6 1/3, 4 earned runs given up by Nelson. Count full, 3-2. Another off-speed pitch. Does he come with another here in a full count, or does he go with a straight one? Marte at third base. Alvarez represents the tying run, batting at the top of the 7th. And he strikes out for the 2nd time tonight. Stretch time in Milwaukee. Pirates get 2 on a couple of hits. Brewers in front. Pirates got a couple of runs back. Time now for our Data Strong fan photo of the game, brought to you by T-Mobile. Where do you see this? That's a buck watching the Bucks. That's Andrew McCutcheon on the television screen. Christine Myers tweeted that to us. Hashtag Pitt Data Strong fan.
Buck watching Bucks.
Who else would the Bucks root for but the Bucks? Travis Ishikawa remains in the game at first base.
I think, I recognize that there.
Do you?
He used to play for the Spikes up there in
State College?
State College, yeah.
Right. Antonio Bastardo takes the hill. Third Pirates pitcher to be used. He follows Deolis Guerra.
The ERA down in the 3s now. Corner batting average is really good. Low 200s.
Gene Segura will lead off for Milwaukee. Almost tempted to say Milwaukee Bucks after seeing that photo. Nothing in 1-2 Segura. And a high chopper to the left side. Good hop for Mercer. Strong throw. And a good scoop by Ishikawa.
Going to be a difficult play for Mercer because he has to sit back and wait.
Ishikawa with a good pick. And a low throw by Jordy. Well, the starter gets the first man he faces. Now Maldonado up. Maldonado 0 for 3. Strike 1 to him. Bastardo had a rough outing in Detroit, but other than that, he has been very good locking things down. Maldonado a bunt. Barehanded by Rodriguez. What a play by Shaw. He has made 2 sensational plays at third, and that one there absolutely terrific. Stealing a bunt base hit from Maldonado. Good idea by Maldonado here, but Rodriguez, exceptional play.
That is pretty amazing that he can go all over the ballpark and come up with plays like that all the time, wherever you put him. He's had highlight plays.
2 outs, and the batter is Chris Davis.
And it turned out to not even be close at first base.
Davis was originally in the starting lineup, but when Liriano was a late scratch, Craig Counsell took him out, put the lefty Parra back in left field. Davis batting in the 9 spot. Let's take a look on the Allegheny Health Network Supermo at that fabulous play.
Perfect strike to first base.
And that head first slide was no help.
They never are. The thing that I don't think anybody realizes, the second you hit the dirt, you start slowing down. That's why the slide was invented. The slide was invented to come to a stop.
2-1 pitch.
Certain rare occasions to avoid a tag. That's about it.
Run through the bag. That'll get you there faster.
At the end of every race in a track meet, if that wasn't true, everybody would be head first sliding across underneath the tape.
Davis crushes one. That one is way gone.
About as far as you can hit one in here. Hit the scoreboard. That was a mammoth shot.
Makes it a 3-run ball game again at 8-5. 7th home run of the year for Davis.
We used to say all the time years ago when we had so much trouble here that to win in this ballpark you had to hit home runs. Well, that's kind of been true so far tonight. The Brewers are hitting the long balls and they're up by 3.
Pitch to Gerardo Parra. Strike call. Just 3 games separate the Cincinnati Reds and Milwaukee Brewers now. for the cellar or the Central. The Brewers have been playing baseball at a much better clip than the Reds. Reds getting blown out by Cleveland tonight in the bottom of the 8th, 9-1.
Well, they'll both be sellers.
But who will be in the cellar? That's the question. Will it be the Reds or the Brewers? A couple of weeks, the makeup of both of those rosters in Cincinnati and Milwaukee could look a little different. Reds will be shopping, and currently are, according to a lot of reports, shopping a number of their frontline players, including pitchers. This one is a fair ball. Ishikawa is going to let it roll. Foul.
Good decision. Yeah, Johnny Cueto, I think, is the name that comes up with the Reds most often. And in fact, there was even talk early before the season started that Cueto might not finish the season with the Reds. Well, it would be a surprise if somebody didn't pick him up at the end.
Popped up on the infield. Rodriguez with a relatively easy play compared to the ones he's already made. One run on the home run by Chris Davis. Sean Rodriguez getting on the Allegheny Health Network Super Mo. Pirates down 3 runs, top of the 8th. They're getting short on outs. But Jonathan Broxton climbs on the hill. And the Pirates have given him some sleepless nights in the past.
Yeah, if they could have picked one guy to come in the bullpen in this situation, they would have picked Broxton. The success that they've had against him in the past. And you can see this season, it's been a lot more than the Pirates hitting him. Opposition, the batting average over 300.
Cervelli with a hit last time up. He's 1 for 3. And first pitch swinging ground ball to short. 1 out. Against the Pirates in 41 prior appearances, Broxton's ERA 6.16. 2-5 record.
Most of the success that he's had came as a Dodger early in his career.
Coming up with the Dodgers, he was a starter in the minor leagues and converted him to a bullpen guy. Strike one to Jordy. One pitch now to Mercer. Strike two. The fastball. Mercer hitless in 3 trips. Still 0-2 on Jordy. The majority of the damage the Pirates have done against Broxton has been at PNC Park. His ERA there is over 13. Bucks did do some damage against him in Cincinnati while he was a member of the Reds.
Seems like everybody has one team as their number. I would imagine the Pirates are Broxton's.
Well, he gets ahead with 2 outs here. And a strikeout of Mercer. And now he'll face Sean Rodriguez. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Rodriguez, in his only plate appearance tonight, struck out. Third ball for a strike. Sean came in as part of a double switch. First of 2 double switches. Went to third base. And he hits one right to Lupo at first base. One, two, three go the Pirates against Broxton. getting close to a series win here, so the Pirates can come back in their final at bat. Hernan Perez, who actually caught that line drive at first base. He had snuck in there for Lucroy at first base. His first plate appearance tonight.
It's not far from their dugout, so it's easy for him to do. Very stealthy. Don't have far to go.
Slipped over there.
Yep.
Didn't tell anybody.
I told Lucroy, hey, stay here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out there. Getting it back.
0-1 pitch. Fouled off, and it's 0-2. Two on the way. The Pirates are going to need a big inning, and they're going to have to get it done against the closer, Francisco Rodriguez, who will come in for the second straight night. But first, they need to get 3 outs in the bottom of the 8th. Allow any more runs. Perez fouls it off. Rodriguez earned the save last night, his 20th of the season. He is 20 for 20 this year in save opportunities. So he's about due to blow one.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. Say you are superstitious.
That has nothing to do with superstition.
Yeah, right there, you just
nothing to do with it.
You're hitting him with the hidden vigorish. That's superstition.
Cascardo against Perez.
Be like if I said Perez hadn't struck out against a left-hander all year.
He's due. It's a law of averages.
I mean, hidden superstition. That's what baseball is, right?
If you say so.
It's all averages. I got 73 pieces of paper in front of me, and all got numbers on it.
1-2 in the dirt, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the numbers have so much to do with the game. You think of a guy like last year, Emilio Bonifacio gets out of the chute hitting .600 for like the first couple of weeks, and he regressed to the mean. He got back to his average. Ended up hitting below .300. And a shot to the gap in left center field. That ball's going to roll the wall. Hernan Perez around first and into second with a leadoff double.
It certainly was a bullet into that gap. Caught the defense in a hurry. A couple of hard balls hit now off at the start of that home run. And that one.
At second base with a double, nobody out.
They went to first base and around the back like he was trying to beat out an infield chopper. He's hungry.
Here is Ryan Braun. Walked and scored in the 6th. Reached on an error by Mercer in the 3rd. He also would score. He had an infield single. Beat out a ground ball to second base in the first inning. 1-0 pitch. Three for three with a home run against Bastardo. Here's Braun.
Now the Truck's trying to hit bigger.
I think last year, that probably all happened last year in the first series of the year. Remember the Brewers got out to a 6-0 start. They swept their first road trip, and they just crushed the Phillies on that trip last year at the beginning of the season. And Braun had at least one, perhaps two, very remarkable games. I don't remember all the stats, but I remember he just tore up the Phillies.
Perez was taking a huge lead off second bases. As Bastardo was looking in before he made that last pitch. And there's Mercer. Now this time he shortened up. He's not doing it. Bastardo's still looking back a long time.
Two balls, two strikes to Braun with Perez waiting at second base. Mercer going over toward the bag to get Perez to go a little closer. In case you tuned us in late and you're wondering who these two teams are based on the uniforms, this is the 10th annual Negro Leagues tribute that they've had here in Milwaukee. Pirates wearing the uniforms of the old Pittsburgh Crawfords. Brewers, the uniforms of the Milwaukee Bears, who were in Milwaukee for just one season in 1923. See on the cap for Crawfords. Of course, their home uniform said Crawford singular on it for the Crawford grill. Three-two pitch now to Ryan Braun from Antonio Bastardo. Walked him. Second consecutive at bat for Braun. He's drawn a base on balls. Cervelli will talk it over with Bastardo as Carlos Gomez gets ready to hit. Still nobody out. Two on, and now out of the Pirate dugout comes the pitching coach, Ray Searage. Pirates going to get some activity.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a stall thing with the bullpen hitting ready. Caminero. Been a bullpen night. Started off with Worley. Need a good one from Wachtamo.
Ray with a pointed conversation.
And that time it was Ray with the pat. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, the pitching coach is the only guy allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Unless you're Dale Esguerra, who didn't know that. Jeff Locke going tomorrow afternoon, opposing Taylor Youngman.
Hopefully he's got about 7 innings in him. The bullpen will work a lot tonight.
Bastardo's first pitch to Gomez. Gomez walked in the 6th inning. It's the only time he's been on base. He's 0 for 3 otherwise. Struck out looking in the first, grounded out to third, and then popped up to short. Strike call. 1-1. Bastardo giving up the leadoff double to Hernan Perez, who's at second base. He's walked Braun. 2 on, nobody out.
Bastardo's really taking his time in between pitches, isn't he?
He's never in a hurry.
Stepping off.
A little number toward the right side. Walker will have one play. It'll be close. And he gets Gomez. Braun advancing to third. I beg your pardon. Braun advancing to second. Perez advancing to third.
Chopper almost working like a bunt, moving everybody up.
Gomez, a big leap at the end. That's kind of like sliding in the first, isn't it? Take that
it's
big
faster
leap.
than sliding. At least you're still traveling through the air.
Get some hang time, though. So they'll walk Ramirez to load the bases. Set up a force play. Scooter Gennett is on deck. Ramirez has 3 hits tonight, too, by the way. 2 RBIs. Solo home run. Hurdle electing to load the bases with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th.
It's the left-hander.
The intentional walk is issued. And the bases are full of Milwaukee Brewers. Well, with the bases loaded, he's 8 for 17 in his career. This season 1 for 4. He's 3 for 4 tonight with a run batted in. 3 singles for Gennett.
What was the one? Must have been like was it a bunt single or something? How to get 1 RBI with the bases loaded?
I don't know. And this one is looped in foul ground and right to Sean Rodriguez for the second out. And Braun is doubled off. What was Ryan Braun doing? Ryan Braun handed the Pirates a gift. A double play in the top of the order up in the 9th. And now an easy double play as Rodriguez throws back to second to double him off.
why they need a first base, third base, and a second base coach.
Well, where would you put the
second base coach? You got to have a second base coach. You can stand out there next to the umpire. You got to have a second base coach.
Francisco Rodriguez comes on to try to close it out for the Brewers.
It's too complicated to keep track of how many outs there are when you're out there second all by yourself.
There's only 3 outs. And there are all kinds of scoreboards around you can look at. Or you can ask the umpire.
If you had a second base coach, that wouldn't happen.
There's all kinds of ways to find out how many outs there are. They'll see to the third base coach. He's sure grumbling about it. Gregory Polanco, 2 for 4 tonight. He's scored twice. Single double for Gregory. Last perhaps for the Pirates, they can get to Rodriguez here, facing him on back-to-back nights. Francisco Rodriguez moved into 8th place all-time last night in saves. He was tied with Jeff Reardon for 9th place. Now he's 8th all by himself. 368 career saves. Next on the list to catch is Joe Nathan. 7th place, 377 saves. 2 balls, no strikes to Polanco. In terms of consecutive saves, this dates back to last season. Rodriguez has converted 25 in a row since the 27th of August at San Diego. And a strike. There's only 2 guys in baseball ahead of him. One of them is in the Pirates' pen right now, Mark Melancon, 27 straight saves. And the major league leader for consecutive saves right now is Minnesota's Glenn Perkins with 28. 2-1 to Polanco. Hot smash on the ground, but gloved by Jeanette, and there's 1 out. Pirates wrap up this series from Miller Park tomorrow afternoon. Our coverage starts at 1:30 with Pirates pregame presented by W.B. Mason on Root Sports. Left-hander Jeff Locke at 5-5 will oppose right-hander Taylor Youngman, who is 4-1. Mark would like a chance to pitch in that one tomorrow. Save it for Jeff. Maybe he gets this one tonight. Who knows? Still a chance. Pirates can pick up a 3 spot here. Hasn't been easy for them tonight, but you never know. One out to Walker. Off the end of the bat, 1-1. Neal extended his hitting streak to 8 straight games with a single in the first. That base hit was a 1-hopper to Carlos Gomez in center field, and it somehow was misplayed by Gomez all the way to the wall, and that allowed Walker to get to third base on the error and Polanco to score the first run of the game. What makes him so effective these days, Bob, especially since he doesn't have the fastball he used to have?
No, he throws nothing straight. Nothing the same speed. Tough to get centered up. I mean, pitching is the same no matter what kind of an arm you have. You're trying to destroy the hitter's timing. And that's what he does with the variety of pitches he has now.
2 strikes to Neil Walker. And the 1-2 ready to go. outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Cardinals have won tonight. Not exactly a nail biter with the Mets. 12-2. The Pirates are in danger of falling to 4.5 back after cutting it to 2.5 at the break. Still well within striking distance.
Long here.
Yep. Tonight, game number 90, 72 remaining in the regular season. Well, Walker hits this one in the air. Shallow right field. Jeanette is out. Braun is in. He'll make the catch.
It's fun to look at the standings every day, but right now, that's all it is fun. You can't really get serious about it yet. And I think you get close to the end of August, and that's when you really have to make sure you're cutting that number down or hopefully extending your lead. Take it in the last month, as long as it's somewhere in the 3 or 4 one way or another, it's still anybody's ball game.
Last hope for the Pirates tonight is Andrew McCutchen. Takes a strike.
Hadn't seen much to hit tonight.
Ball and a strike to Kutch. McCutchen is just 1 for 8 against Rodriguez. And now the Pirates down to their final strike. The Brewers have only won 3 series at home this year. They're 3-9-2 in series play at home. There's the 1-2 to McCutchen. Two balls, 2 strikes. 33,000 plus wanted that to be strike 3.
Yeah, I think the Pirates have become a team that's fun for the fans of the other team to beat. They're enjoying this. It comes with the territory when you start winning. A little bit of a target on your back.
Up in the air to right center. This should do it. And the Brewers have taken the first 2 games of this 3-game set. Pirates have lost back-to-back games here in Milwaukee. 53-37 the record now. Ramos Ramirez, big night. He had a home run, 3 hits, 2 RBIs. And Rodriguez picks up his 21st save. He's 21 for 21 this year. Saves it for Nelson.
Well, after the top of the first, you would have never thought that it was going to end up like it is right now. Pirates looked like they were going to possibly run away with it, but yeah, that bases loaded, nobody out. We couldn't score any runs. Marte getting thrown out really pretty easily there at the plate. That kind of changed a little bit of the tide. I think the Brewers really felt, and they should have felt, fortunate that they got out of that first inning down just 3 runs, and they were able to fight back.
8-5 the final score. The Brewers beat the Pirates here tonight.